Have you ever felt like the universe was trying to tell you something about your love life, but you weren't quite sure what it meant? Or maybe you've been getting all these signs from the universe, but you're unsure if it's really a sign or it's not a sign. Or maybe it's a sign, but how do I interpret this sign? In this video, I'm going to show you how you can tap into the signs from the universe and use them as a guide to move forward in your love life. Hello everybody, I am Vaishali Nikhade. I'm an engineer turned psychic and I show you how you can leverage the power of stars for your love life. As a psychic, I get to hear a lot of behind the scenes stories from my clients about what's going on in their love life. And I had one such client, and let's call her Emily. So this is Emily. This is Emily, and she actually had interest in two different people. So let's call one of them John, and the other one is Aaron. So the story is real, the names are fake, you know the drill. If you've watched my videos before, if you haven't watched my videos before, welcome. I share with you true behind the scenes stories, and I change the names so that you can actually relate to what goes on in people's lives. At the same time, I can protect the identities of the people involved. So she was considering whether she should go with this guy. So let's call this guy John, and this guy is Aaron. And she was wondering whether she should be going with John or Aaron, because at the end of the day, she would only have to pick one. And the way the situation was, she was kind of making progress with John. So things were, let's say, moving forward with John at a fairly rapid pace. And at the same time, things weren't quite moving forward with Aaron. However, they were completely different people. They were extremely different and they were two unique individuals. Yet, Emily was intrigued. This is Emily. Emily was intrigued by both of them, and she just wasn't sure as to which one she should choose. So when she came to me for clarity, I asked her that the best way for her to get confirmation from the universe would be to get signs from the universe, because once she saw the signs, she would know whether this guy is out or whether this guy is out. So she went and asked the universe for signs. So let's say that this is the universe, and the universe is kind of giving her signs. So universe is sending all this information her way, and some of the information, or a part of the information, is directly related to getting sign here. So this is a sign, and the sign is going to show her which person is in and which person is out. So either this guy was going to be in, or either this guy was going to be in, and one of them was going to be in, one of them was going to be out. As soon as she saw the signs from the universe told her that nothing would move forward with John. So essentially, all this thing was eliminated. And whatever progress she had made in here, it didn't really have any meaning, even though she didn't make much progress with Aaron. Whatever progress she had made with John, it didn't have that much of a meaning, because the universe told her that at the end of the day, things would fall apart. So, what is your goal? Essentially, and just to add to the story, what happened is John ended up ghosting her. So, what is your goal? Your goal is to not spend time, like a lot of time here, trying to move forward with this person, when at the end of the day, you know that things are going to fall apart. And if you want to fast track that process, then you can ask the universe for signs, and the universe is more than happy to show you the signs, and then it will kind of show you that, okay, this one is out, and then this one is not out. All right. So essentially, ask for signs as soon as possible so that you don't go down the wrong path and end up wasting time. So in this video, you're going to learn why do you need signs from the universe, why you need to look out for signs, understanding signs from the universe, and interpreting signs from the universe. So we'll get to the first part, which is why do you need signs from the universe? So essentially, how do I, so this is a human being. So essentially, we are all human beings. And let's say that this is the universe. This is the universe. And we are all human beings. We are located on planet Earth. So this is a human being, and we're located on planet Earth. So if there is another human being involved here, and let's say you want to communicate with this person, you want to have back and forth exchange with this person, then you're communicating in a language. So let's say that you speak English, and then this other person also speaks English, and you can communicate by text, you can communicate by voice, or a combination of text and voice, however way you want to. If you are face to face with each other, then you can communicate directly. And since both of you speak English, you're going to understand the language, and you're going to be able to interpret or identify what this other person is saying. Okay. Now just imagine a different scenario where you are speaking English and this person is speaking French. So if one person speaks English and the other person speaks French, then essentially you're not going to be able to understand each other unless there is like a few common words between English and French as far as communication is concerned. However, if you had an interpreter in between, so let's say that there was someone who knew both English and French, and they were interpreting or they were acting as an interpreter in between, then this guy would actually take your English and translate it to French so that this guy understands French, and this guy would take your French and translate it to English, and then you could communicate via the interpreter. So I'm going to touch this point towards the end of the video, but for now, you have to understand that when two people communicate with each other, they use the medium of language, and then both the people should be talking the same language. So now the two people involved here are you and the universe. So this is you and this is the universe. And when you talk to the universe, because the universe is more subtle than just speaking in a verbal tone, a language, the universe communicates by the method of signs. So the signs, so these are the signs, and the universe is going to give you the signs, and you have to be able to interpret the signs. And you also have to ask question to the universe. You can ask a question to the universe, and the universe will answer. And the way it will answer is it's going to give you a sign. So this sign essentially is the language of the universe. And once you learn how to ask for signs, you can ask in the simplest way. For the sake of this video, you can ask in the simplest way, and you can say that, okay, I need a sign. Let's take the example of Emily. I need a sign whether I'm going to move forward with John or whether I'm going to move forward with Aaron. And that is Emily asking for signs. So the next portion is looking out for signs. Now let's come back to the example of the humans, and let's say that we have these two humans, one is here and one is here, and they are communicating. Let's say they are face to face with each other in some room or in an area where they are face to face with each other. It can be a room or it can be an open space, it doesn't matter. But this person is speaking and this person is listening, and then this person is speaking and this other person is listening. So there is continuous back and forth communication between the two people. However, when you look at the universe, there is no back and forth communication like that. It's not like you speak and the next moment the universe gives you a sign. Most of the times it doesn't happen that way. In certain rare situations, it may happen that you ask and you get an answer immediately. But in most cases, you ask and then it's going to take the universe some time to be able to present that sign to you. And I'm going to get into the details of why that happens a little bit later in this video. So essentially, the universe is going to give you a sign and you have to recognize the sign. Now, how exactly do you recognize the sign? Recognizing the signs is going to be different for each individual. So now let's say that we have, just for the sake of the argument, let's say I'm going to pick 5 people. Okay, let's say that we have 5 individuals in the picture, and each of these are asking for signs. So let's say you have the first individual, and this first individual, let's say, is a factory worker, and this person works in the factory and he's asking for signs. This person, let's say, is a news anchor and he works in the newsroom and he's asking for signs. This person, let's say, is a car salesman and then he's asking for signs. Maybe he wants to sell a car. Let's say this next person is an art instructor and this person is asking for signs. And let's say that this fifth person is an athlete and this person is asking for signs. Now, I didn't label any of these, so, but the point is that each of these person or each of these people have different environment. The athlete has a completely different environment than the factory worker. So the universe is not going to show the athlete the signs in the same way that it is going to show the signs to the factory worker or the car salesman. The car salesman is going to have a completely different environment than the athlete or the factory worker. Now, it's possible that some of them may have a long commute to work, some of them may have a short commute to work. They may be listening to the radio, they may be listening to the news on their way to work, and then there could be a piece of news which is relevant to the question they asked, and that could essentially answer that question, and that would be a sign. Now, each of these people, they also consume different media. For instance, some may watch YouTube, some may watch Facebook, some may do TikTok, some may do Instagram, and some may do whatever other media is there. Maybe they do newspaper or online news. Their social circles are going to be different. This person who is a factory worker is going to have a completely different social circle than this person who is an athlete. So if the universe had to give a sign via the social circles, then the universe would kind of arrange the circumstances or arrange the answer to be delivered in a unique manner for each one of these people. So essentially, what happens is everyone is not going to get the answer in the same way. The universe is, it wouldn't make sense for the universe to give the same sign to each of these people. Let's say the universe wants to give a sign. Universe wants to give a sign to, this is the sign, for instance, and the universe wants to give the same sign to each of these people. It won't be possible because some of these people, they may never have the environment that exposes them to the sign. So the universe has to consider that, and because of that, every person is going to get the sign in a different way, and it's going to be a different sign as well. So this is where the concept of language and communication comes in. Like, it's not like you have two people talking in English and they just kind of, one person says something, the other person listens and responds. It is very unique to each person and very different than just communicating in a language. So that is as far as giving the signs are concerned. So if you'd like to move forward in your love life, then I'm going to attach an application below, and you're welcome to complete that application. And a part of that is going to be learning how to interpret signs from the universe. So now let's come to interpreting signs from the universe. Now, interpreting is a very complex subject, and I just showed you why, and I can only scratch the surface of interpreting signs in this video, and I'm going to do my best so that you at least get the essence of what it means to interpret signs. Now, I'm going to take the example of Emily because that's the lady we started with. And Emily was kind of torn making a decision between two people. She was moving forward faster with one of them, and she wasn't moving forward as fast as she would like to with the other person. So essentially, she was making more progress. So this is one person. So let's say that this is John. And this is the other person. Let's say that this is Aaron. And let's say that this is Emily. Oops. let's say that this is Emily over here. Okay. So she's a female. So this is her hair, let's say. All right. So Emily is asking the universe that, hey, universe, I want to choose between John and Aaron. And I need some guidance because even though things were moving forward with John, she has had to have some sort of a gut feeling that she wasn't sure if things were going to kind of go in the direction that they were going or they were going to fall apart. So she's asking the universe for a sign if things are going to move forward with John or if things are going to move forward with Aaron. So let's say that Emily has like a long drive, and in her drive, she turns on a radio in the car. And on that radio, there's like a bunch of songs that play randomly. The concept of the radio is random songs. So it's not a known sequence of songs. She doesn't really know which song is going to come first and which one is going to come next. So essentially, she has asked the universe for a sign, and then she has this bunch of songs playing on her commute. And then after the first and the second song play out, then she has this third song. And this third song is directly referencing her situation between John and Aaron, and it's kind of giving her a hint, which is referencing that things are going to fall apart with John and things are going to move forward with Aaron. However, she's not convinced because in her real life, in the physical world, things have moved forward a lot faster with John. So she's not convinced. So then she can ask another sign to the universe. And let's say that she was here. This is her starting point, and she was here, and she starts driving. And during her drive, she hears this song, and then she takes an exit and she comes to the surface streets. And when she comes to the surface streets, there's a new area that she's driving, and there are new streets, or the names of the streets are new. So when she's driving, she's looking at each and every street name to make sure that she doesn't miss any turn so that she can get to a destination faster. And as she's making this turn, she looks at a sign, or she looks at the name of the street, and the name of the street has a direct correlation to, let's say, Aaron, his first name, his last name, or something along those lines. And that gives her a second sign. So this was the first sign, which was the song. So this is the song, that's the first sign. Okay, so that's the song. And then this is a street sign, and the street sign is a second sign, and the street sign is telling her essentially that since it's referencing Aaron, essentially what it means is things are going to fall apart with John. And as she's moving along, then she finds a license plate. So she comes to her destination, and then let's say she goes back along the same path. And as she's going back along the path, here is when she comes to the freeway. And here is when she actually sees a license plate. And that license plate has direct correlation, let's say, with either the numbers for the license plate for John or the numbers for the license plate for Aaron. If it had a relationship with the numbers for license plate for John, essentially there would be an indication that things were going to fall apart. And if it had an indication or correlation with the license plate for Aaron, then essentially it would show that things are going to move forward. Then she goes home and then she watches a movie. And when she's watching this movie, she comes across a situation which is similar to her situation. And in the movie, the character which represents Aaron is where things move forward, and the character which represents John, things actually don't move forward. So that is like the fourth sign. So far, she has had four signs that things are going to fall apart with John. The first one is a song, the second one is a street sign, the third one is a license plate, and then the fourth one is a movie. She can continue to keep asking for signs if she's not happy, because maybe she wanted things to move forward with John, but she can also take the hint and say that, oh my God, I received like 1, 2, 3, 4 signs, and all of these signs are indicating that things are not going to move forward with John. So now she can tread carefully on that path and see what would happen. So when she came to me at this point, she told me that she received like 4 signs. And she thought that things were going really, really well with John. So she was very confused as to why the universe would show her these signs that things were going to fall apart. And she thought that it would almost take an act of God for things to fall apart with John. So, how did the situation play out? Well, it turns out that within the span of, let's say, a couple of weeks, what happened is John ended up ghosting her. And essentially, she realized that all the communication between them had come to a dead end. So at the end of the day, she realized that whatever signs the universe had shown her, they were all correct. They were all pointing to the fact that things were going to fall apart with John. And she was happy that she did not invest more time and more energy into it, and she would be able to move forward faster. So this is just one way the universe can send a sign. And I looked at it in Emily's situation with her drive. Essentially, she was driving and then she was driving back. So that is like her environment. Now, if we took the environment of a factory worker or an athlete, let's say the athlete, and the athlete didn't have that much of a drive, then the universe would present these same signs in a different way. So now that you know how to look at these signs from the universe. We looked at 1, 2, 3, 4 signs from the universe. There is one more thing, there's one secret which is going to help you interpret these signs from the universe, so that you have to be able to interpret these signs accurately, because if you don't, you're going to miss out on them. In the next video, I'm going to show you how you can decode these signs from the universe, or how you can interpret these signs from the universe, so that you don't really miss out on any message or any guidance that you need to move forward in your love life. And you can click on the video to see it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.